Welcome to the Boxing Talk Show.
Fair but firm.
With the Hall of Fame boxing referee.
I'm Joe Cortez.
And co-host John Zemelnd for all of Las Vegas.
Come on, guys. Let's touch them up. Clean fight. I'm Joe Cortez. Fair but firm. Welcome to the Fair but Firm show here with Joe Cortez and my co-host John Zemelnd. Again, we're here in Las Vegas, the boxing capital of the world. Guys, I'll tell you, the weather here is a killer. We were talking about the weather here in Vegas. I'll tell you, the three digits, like yesterday, today, it's going to be like another 105, 107, 108. But everything's getting hot.
It's getting hot.
Including the fight game.
Exactly. Nothing's hotter than that.
Oh, my God. We talk about last week's fights. We're going to talk about it briefly, but you fans out there know that in boxing, there's always great news. Sometimes there's bad news. But the good news was that Robert Garcia was able to capture the lightweight championship.
His brother, Mikey Garcia.
Mikey Garcia. Robert Garcia is the trainer.
Yeah.
Mikey Garcia defeated Robert Easter.
Yes.
And winning the lightweight championship.
It was a big one.
Unifying the title belt. So I was glad to see that happen.
As was I, man. You know, Robert Easter, he has that undefeated record, or he had that undefeated record, but there was a couple of spots towards the end there where it seemed like there was, some blemishes in his armor, and Mikey Garcia, who's maybe the best technical fighter out there right now, he was able to expose those pretty easily, and it was just great. It's always great seeing Mikey Garcia fight.
Mikey Garcia has always been one of my favorite fighters in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I've always told his brother Robert, your brother, I know you were a world champion yourself, but your brother's really raised the bar when it comes to winning these championships. I mean, he's conquered already like 3 different titles, in 3 different weight classes.
He went up to 140, won a championship, and then just popped on back down.
Back to 135.
Back to 135.
But now he's talking about fighting welterweight.
He's talking about fighting the biggest, strongest welterweight. I don't know.
Terrence Crawford?
No. Errol Spence.
Errol Spence, yeah. He was Errol Spence is...
Terrence Crawford would actually make sense because he was fighting at 140 for so long.
Yeah.
Errol Spence could eventually move up to middleweight or light middleweight.
Yeah, and he's a young fighter, undefeated, great talent.
Big puncher, though.
He's a big puncher, a great body puncher.
Yes.
And he has great skills. I mean, this welterweight division, we're talking about that division again. It's like...
It's all we ever do. It's so exciting.
It ran me back of the old days, the golden era, when you had Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Tommy Hearns, all those guys were fighting at welterweight. And you had some of the great champions of all times. And here we are again, back to that.
Exactly. I mean, welterweight's so exciting. We got 2 guys on Fox tonight. We got Andre Berto and Devin Alexander, 2 guys who have both been welterweight champions in the past. And last week we had 2 weeks ago, Manny Pacquiao versus Lucas Matisse, who've both been welterweight champions in the past. And these are all guys who maybe Manny Pacquiao's in the top 10 in welterweights. Depends on who you ask. But these are all, this is how stacked that division is.
Yeah, talking about Lucas Matisse, he just announced his retirement.
Absolutely, and we have to talk about that because, what a great career for the Argentinian. I couldn't, he should be very proud. He had put a profound impact on the fight game, and I think, we want to thank you as fight fans and analysts.
Yeah, he was a great welterweight, but he's seen his better days, and a good way to go out is say, he lost to Manny Pacquiao.
But he got a payday. He got that Pacquiao payday on the way out.
But he went out with a TKO loss. So, but that's boxing for you. But at least he got a good payday. And hopefully he has something to live off. Talking about paydays and checks, these fighters make all this money sometimes. And I always say they got to put some kind of a system into place where you get like a 10% of their purse or 20% of their purse, put in some kind of annuity funds. And maybe this way, when they're 45 years of age,
401k type situation,
something like that, so they can draw that out later on. But a lot of the fighters are from out of the country too, and they don't believe in this kind of system. They may think,
and it's also really difficult because we have 5 sanctioning bodies. I mean 4, but 4.5 sanctioning bodies, and also we have they're all over countries that it's impossible for boxers to unionize because of all the sanctioning bodies. It makes it really tough to put that kind of system in place.
But it should be kind of like an investment, like a business investment. Mm-hmm. I think we got to educate these fighters, and maybe at these conventions that they have every year, have somebody speak to these fighters and promoters and managers to see if we can start selling those deals and make them feel.
I'm all for that, man. And you know what? When in the NBA and the NFL, and I'm assuming the baseball and hockey too, they have the rookies come in, and then they have that rookie symposium or whatever they call it, where the vets come and talk to them about stuff like this. They don't have that in boxing because of the situations that we just talked about.
Yeah, well, I think that's what they should have when they have these conventions, and these fighters, they should have somebody maybe at the weigh-ins or maybe after the fight or something. Yes, so they know that this is out there for them. With social media today, this is something that can be put on all different languages around the world.
Absolutely.
So they can understand that we're trying to protect them so they can have a better future when they retire from boxing.
Absolutely.
Because it's sad to see some of these great fighters giving us so much joy and enjoyment of watching them
They've
fight.
given their blood, sweat, and tears.
And then to see them topped out broke at the end.
It is sad.
You know, they're out there signing autographs or trying to make a paycheck. You know, it's sad, you know, and at least the World Boxing Council has a group of individuals, and I'm part of them, one of the groups, where we're able to put these fighters to get monies. It's given by the WBC to these fighters, and it's sad that we have to say, like, every year we donate X amount of dollars, whether it's $10,000, $20,000, whatever, to some of the fighters who are in need for health care, paying their mortgages.
No, especially.
You know,
yeah, and the healthcare thing is a big deal when you've been through, wars like that. It's kind of insane. If you're a fighter, your healthcare is different than a normal American, and it's expensive enough just being a normal person.
Yeah, and on top of that, the education of some of these fighters has just sometimes to most of them is limited.
It's almost a non-existent.
Yeah, so
most of these guys, even the smartest ones, they didn't really. I mean, there's how many fighters do you know with a college degree at all?
And not only fighters, but even the people in everyday life. I mean, they don't know how to invest their money. So can you imagine fighters
exactly
that are not educated?
And especially when you come from nothing to exorbitant wealth, it's hard to, it's hard.
And it's hard to concentrate with all the punches coming to your head.
Exactly.
You get hit with these punches, you can't even think straight anymore.
No, a lot of times, man. A lot of times.
Yeah. But now we're talking about the heavyweight division. I mean,
I'm excited about it.
I just heard that Anthony Joshua is talking about fighting.
No. Deontay Wilder.
Deontay Wilder fighting Tyson Fury.
And you know what, man? They're both talking about it very seriously.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this I'm going to go off for a second.
Yep.
I love this for a lot of reasons. The big one is it makes Anthony Joshua look real bad, which is hilarious because Anthony Joshua and his team are great. Him and Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, they are so great at protecting their image and making sure everything's good. But when when they weren't able to make those negotiations before, there was a lot of he said, she said, who's at fault. And then Tyson Fury comes out and says, we made a deal in 2 days. These are Wilder's team is the easiest people to deal with. And, I'm not afraid of him like Joshua is, blah, blah, blah. It makes everything look so great. And I love those two.
Yeah, but what scares me is that if Wilder loses to Tyson Fury, there goes the Joshua fight, Anthony Joshua fight, and Wilder is a fight the fan want to see.
But the Tyson Fury Joshua fight would actually arguably be bigger, especially in England.
Yeah, over there. But but still, the U.S. wants to see Wilder and Joshua. That's the fight we were all looking for. And all of a sudden, something go wrong in that fight. Tyson Fury is dangerous.
He is dangerous. I mean, but he doesn't have big KO power. That's the thing. He'll go 12 with you. Yeah. So that's what makes it fun. Can he outpoint Wilder before Wilder can put him down?
Well, Wilder's going to have the speed because Tyson Fury's a tall, big. He's big. He's a little slower. 6'9". And Wilder,
he's a great technical fighter though for his size.
Yeah, but Wilder's going to get inside of him, punch him real quick. And Wilder going to be hitting some heavy bombs to the body and to the head. And once he start banging that body, because, don't forget, Tyson Fury is coming back off a layoff. And it's not going to be the same.
3 years layoff.
And that's definitely going to be a reason why Wilder took that fight, knowing that this guy's been.
If I was him, I would take it now before Tyson Fury gets too much back in shape. the Tyson Fury old was scary. He beat Klitschko, and he was a scary guy, man. And I'll tell you something else. I'm excited because we have the lineal champ back at it again. Right. The lineal champ goes back to, I think forever, right? Like Jim Jeffries, like all the way back. And go back up to Joe Louis, up through Muhammad Ali, all these guys. There's been a lineal champ. And then now we have Tyson Fury, who is the lineal champ, back at it. He's the man who beat the man. And I'm excited to see him back in the ring against a real opponent.
Absolutely. It's going to be an interesting fight to watch. Anyway, guys, we're going to go into a brief commercial. We'll be right back. Welcome back again to the show. Joe Cortez here with my co-host, John Zemelnd. Kovalev is coming back again.
Oh, yeah.
He only had his 2 losses to Andrew Berto.
Or Andre Ward.
Andrew Ward, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
And Andrew Ward was one of the best fighters out there, undefeated. He beat Kovalev twice. And then decided to pack it and he hung up the gloves.
Hung it up, man. There was no one else in the light heavyweight division. He just said, I got nothing more to prove. I'm out of here.
Yeah, but I know some of these fighters, sometimes they retire, then they start getting a little itchy.
Yeah.
They want to get that that itch. They want to come back again.
Exactly.
I don't know if Andrew Berto is going to come back, but he does have a good position with HBO as a color commentator, which is great. He does a great
I
job.
hope Andre Ward, I hope he's happy, whatever he's doing. If he wants to come back, there's a lot of big fights out there waiting for him.
Absolutely.
If he doesn't, then I hope he is a great commentator. I love listening to him when he's on HBO. He's a good.
Well, when you had George Foreman on there as well before, and you got some of these fighters. Sometimes these commentators, the fighters, they've been in there.
Oh yeah.
They know exactly what's going on.
Exactly.
I'm not taking nothing away from Jim Lamp, who does a great job, and the other commentators out there. But Andrew Berto is doing a fabulous job.
Mm-hmm.
He calls it the way it is. He's not picking any sides. He's telling you exactly what these fighters are feeling, what they're going through, because he's been there.
No, exactly, man. And look, I mean, as a boxing commentator who has never been in the ring, I got to say, it's awesome to be able to see both perspectives. Like you said, Jim Lampley does do an excellent job. No one would take anything away from him. But it's also nice to have somebody on the other side of that who has been in there and has, been in that toe-to-toe environment.
Yeah, like myself, as a referee, from a referee's perspective, I see a lot.
Ex-professional fighter.
Yeah, I see a lot that's going on in that ring, a lot more than anybody else, because I've been in there with these fighters as a fighter and as a referee. So I know what these referees are going through, what they're thinking, or what they should be doing, or when they should be taking points.
Exactly.
How much are they going to tolerate the excessive holding, the low blows, punches behind the head, all these things that have to be followed through by a referee. So most of the times, John, when I'm watching a fight, I think 80% of the time I'm watching a referee.
Yeah, usually
because it's a habit that I have already.
Another advantage that you have and other referees might have compared to other fighters, like let's say you're Andre Ward, he doesn't know exactly what it's like to be in the ring with flyweights. You know what it's like to be in the ring with everything from a featherweight to a heavyweight and what that entails, which is a big difference. Those are different sports almost.
Yeah.
One of them is who can land the big blow first. The other one is a technical points match. It's always fun to see the disparity.
Yeah, there's a lot of fighters that like to be bangers. They come out throwing punches. They're really good bangers. Then you got some who are very technical.
More finesse.
Using good ring mechanics.
Absolutely.
Like a Mayweather type of a guy.
Oh, yeah.
A guy
it's funny, Mayweather was both, because he was a knockout artist in the beginning.
Yeah, but then we started finding the big boys.
Exactly.
That knockout.
When he went from pretty boy to money, he changed his approach.
Yeah, he didn't want to get hit as much, so he didn't slug it out as much. But
speaking of referees, I have a question for you. We had some news this week. Ever since Anthony Joshua beat Vladimir Klitschko, he's had 2 fights since then. And in the first one, there was some discrepancies that it was an early stoppage. And in the last one, there was a lot of criticism that he was able to get away with a lot more. That there was a lot that every time Joseph Parker tried to go inside, he was broken up. And now there was just an announcement this week of the last I think yesterday, that his next fight against Alexander Povetkin, they apparently both sides agreed to have an English referee there. Do you see that being news at all?
Well, it's something that they have to really look at carefully, because sometimes something goes wrong, and the perception is that the English fighter may favor.
He famously said when he was when Deontay Wilder and Al Heyman offered him $50 million to come and fight in Las Vegas, he famously said, "I'd rather fight in front of English judges and English referees," which some people saw as kind of curious. Why would someone say that?
Yeah, well, it's something that would make you think, because now the Wilder people say, "Wait a minute, if you want to have the whole deck stacked against me."
Exactly.
I mean, come on, give me a break, So sometimes it's good to bring in a neutral officials, but it's something that has to be looked at carefully, because they still have a time to make some adjustments. I mean, they can sign for the fight. The officials are the last one to be assigned, maybe 2 weeks before the fight.
Yeah.
But it's something that they got to look at carefully, because we don't want any controversial endings in a fight. We should have want the officials to be blacklisted and be talked about as he had his hometown officials with him, and therefore
exactly. You never want anything over a fight except for the outcome. You don't want. I mean, look at the first Triple G Canelo fight. I mean, it's sad that when you have that conversation, you have to talk about the scorecards.
Exactly, But we have other fights that are coming up tonight. We talked about
absolutely. Well, yeah. Well, not only the Kovalev fight is awesome because it's a doubleheader, and we've talked about it in the past. I love tournament style fights because you have 4 guys all in the same division fighting each other. Fighting 2 of them tonight, and then presumably the winners will be fighting each other either in December or early in 2019, which I think is super exciting. Obviously, the favorites are Kovalev and Dmitry Bivol, who's fighting Isaac Chilemba
and Alvarez.
And of course, and
Alvarez, Kovalev.
And Eleider Alvarez, the Colombian light heavyweight, is fighting Sergey Kovalev.
I never heard of him, but he's talking up a storm. Like he said, I'm going to take the title back home to Colombia.
I love it.
He said, I'm going to beat this guy Kovalev tonight. When you talk like that, man, you better put your fist where your mouth is at.
He is the biggest test that Kovalev's faced since Andre Ward.
Yeah,
he's had 2 little nothing fights in between, and
but this guy Alvarez, I never heard of him.
I never heard of him either.
But then again, we haven't heard of a lot of fighters in the past who come out and knocked out our champions.
Exactly, Isaac Dogbe.
Yeah, Isaac Dogbe, one from Africa who came up here and took
Jesse Magdalena's title.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that happened.
And now now everybody's talking about him. Speaking of somebody everybody's talking about who came out of nowhere, Jaime Munguia, who just came off of a fresh win to Liam Smith, is being talked about heavily as being possibly the undercard on the Triple G Canelo fight, which is going to be the biggest, most watched fight of the year. Undoubtedly, like there's no real question about that. So being the fight right before that on the prelim would be a huge thing for him in his career, and I'm excited for him, man.
Yeah, he's a decent fighter. I mean, he's proven to when he knocked out Saddam Ali.
Yeah,
and thank God that Bob Bennett, the executive director, he nixed him. He said, no, I don't want him to fight against Triple G. That's who they wanted to fight Triple G, Cinco de Mayo, where the Canelo Alvarez and Triple G fight was canceled.
Exactly.
They wanted to bring this kid in, but he was unknown.
You're talking about a guy with only opponents in his own home country, which has a little bit. You never know what's going on there, and going up almost 2 weight classes to fight the first or second greatest middleweight of his era. It would have been a bloodbath.
He would have been probably destroyed and probably never would have been the same again.
Exactly.
But by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Bob Bennett, executive director, decided, no, we're not going to take that fight. And the commissioner said, agree with Bob Bennett. You know what? They stuck up for what they thought was right. And at the moment, everybody thought it was not a good decision because he went out, he didn't fight. And Triple G had to go fight this other fighter.
Vanes Monterosian.
Yeah, out in L.A., and they didn't draw big because the fighter was not known. But then Munguia went up to New York City and fought Saddam Ali.
And was as an underdog.
As an underdog, and ended up knocking out Saddam Ali. Now, you fans out there know Saddam Ali was a fighter who
ended Cotto's career.
Who beat Miguel Cotto. And Cotto was, ended up his career with.
That's not fair to say he beat his career. He beat him on his last fight. It wasn't like he knocked him into retirement.
No.
Yeah.
Miguel was going to retire anyway that night.
Yeah.
But the kid Munguia proved that he is a worthy opponent, knocking out Saddam Ali. That now he's fighting. When he fought Liam Smith a couple of weeks ago in Las Vegas.
Liam Smith, who's been a good.
It was a great fight. I mean, before it was not a technical fight. It showed that Munguia was not ready for Triple G. Had he fought the way that night, the way he fought, he would have fought Triple G the same way. Triple G would easily knock him out.
I don't want to take anything away from Liam Smith there, by the way. It's not that, it's not that Liam Smith is bad. Liam Smith he was very game. He kept it going against, and he was just overmatched. But it was a good fight, but it was never really competitive.
It was a very exciting fight for the fans. They loved it. I mean, the players at the Hard Rock Hotel were really very, very pleased with the outcome of the fight. And he has already a big fan base. He's only 21 years old.
Yeah, he's our producer's favorite fighter.
Yeah. And he already said, I won tonight. He said, but I learned a lot. I'm only 21 years old. So he says, I got a lot to prove to you.
Take it slow. Learn from Canelo.
Yeah. Canelo took on Mayweather. Saw what happened. Mayweather took him to school.
Exactly.
But Canelo got better after that.
He learned a lot. He made a lot. And he got his name, became even bigger than it already was.
Exactly. So I think that fight with Munguia on the undercard of
we don't know who his opponent will be yet, but I think it's exciting, and I think it'll be great exposure. For
there's
him.
A guy named out there, Charlie Carrillo. That's our producer.
You know what? He's to fight his biggest fan.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we're going to a brief commercial. We'll be right back. Welcome back again to the Joe Cortez Fair but Firm Show with my co-host John Zemelnd. John, talking about boxing, and people are saying that boxing was dying.
Yeah.
And I said, well, there was a deal that just happened with Top Rank and ESPN.
7 years, 54 fights a year. That's more than one a week. for the next 7 years with Top Rank. That's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. And boxing is really on the rise, guys. This is what we want. Hey, I want to say a quick shout out to my friend out there, Larry, out in Henderson. And a good guy. And we got our friend Jackie up in New York.
Oh, of course.
And Delin here in Vegas. And all the
Delin.
And all the fighters out there. We really love you guys. We really think the world of you guys. That's why I'm such a fan of boxing. I've been a fan of boxing since I was 12 years old. So, I mean, that's a couple of years back.
Absolutely.
And I think that we are trying to let you fans know how much boxing means to us. There's so many fans out there. That's why you guys are listening, because, we're going to be talking in a few minutes about the Triple G Gennady Golovkin fight against Canelo Alvarez, September 15th here at the T-Mobile Arena.
This is our first time touching on it. We're going to be talking about it for the next month and a half. But, we'll do our first, our pre-preview real quick.
Yeah. I just want to say, fans, that Triple G, Gennady Golovkin is a well-known fighter who's undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, with that one exception, that draw that he got last year against Canelo Alvarez. And, of course, there's an asterisk mark next to that draw. A lot of fans thought that Gennady Golovkin beat Canelo Alvarez, but that's why this fight, September 15th, is in the makings, because the fans know that this is the fight they want to see. And, I remember that night I was calling the fight for the ESPN,
yes, sir.
ESPN Deportes, and I remember scrolling that fight. I said, wow, where I was sitting, it looked one way. When I got back home and I watched it on TV, I definitely saw Triple G winning the fight.
Well, but it wasn't like you scored it. I mean, in your defense, you didn't score it for Canelo. You scored it as a draw, which I think a lot of people did. That's one thing that gets overshadowed a lot. One of the judges scored it as a draw, and I can see the argument for a draw. What most people had problem with was that one particular scorecard that saw it, going very, very heavily towards Canelo. But I could see where you could see a draw.
Yeah, we're all human. We can call it one way. Or you go home and watch it. That's why I said I don't like the position of the judges. They got to be elevated, looking down in the ring, and not on the standard position. They're going to miss a lot of punches.
Yeah.
I've already said it before. They miss 9 to 19 punches per round per judge on the standard position where they are now. They go up higher, they only miss 1 or 2 from the top looking down.
That's a big difference.
Like they do in tennis. But anyway, that's another topic.
That's another topic that we've gotten into before and takes some time.
Yeah, but I still say that Triple G, Canelo Alvarez is going to be
there's a reason
great
this
fight.
is a super fight, outside of having two outstanding fighters who are, arguing for the best of their era in that weight class. We're talking about two guys who have been on a collision course for years. Canelo had a WBC mandatory to fight him, dropped his belt because he wanted to pursue other fights, so he says. But, of course, you have the other side saying, well, he was ducking Triple G. Then it was a constant when are they going to fight, when are they going to fight, when are they going to fight? Then they do fight. You have a very controversial ending, but a great fight, probably the fight of the year last year, followed by a rematch that everyone's building up. No one can talk enough about. Everyone's super excited. And then, out of nowhere, as we all know, Canelo Alvarez gets popped for clenbuterol. We have those issues. Now, Triple G has to fight somebody else. Canelo has a suspension. This fight is as marinated as it gets. If this was a piece of chicken, you'd have to cook it right now, because otherwise it would be over-marinated. This is a perfect time, perfect fighters, end of their prime versus middle of their prime. You have a big puncher versus a counter puncher. I could not be more excited for this fight. And as much as we've talked about it, it's still not enough. It's as exciting as it gets.
But the fans are always going to say that what happened with the clenbuterol,
yes, sir,
the testing that Canelo cheated, that's going to be a big question mark. Win or lose, draw, whatever, they're still going to say, he was on drugs again.
Well, that's what, that's part of the fight game. But at the same time, if you test clean this time, you test clean this time. That's the way it is. And apparently there was a feature on his diet now, and he's just eating chicken, fish, and vegetables. He doesn't even eat beef anymore.
That's it.
Yeah. So there you go. He should be good. And by the way, to everyone out there, to both sides, please stay away from any, and I don't want to go through this again, please stay away from any meat that seems like it might be unsavory. Please stay away from any meat. Make sure you test and inspect any piece of food that you eat, because this was too exciting. It's too perfect now, and I can't go through that heartbreak again.
Well, maybe they should become vegetarians.
It might not hurt.
Maybe that's the way to go. They can make the weight for sure, and they'll also be.
They'll make the weight for sure.
They make the weight. There's no question about it.
Although I gotta say, have you seen pictures of Canelo? He looks slimmer. And I'm not saying that talking about. Some people have said that to say that maybe he's off drugs. I'm not saying that. I'm saying he's obviously conditioning was an issue in the first fight.
Exactly.
He's working on it hard this time, and he looks like he's lost some weight. And I'm excited to see what happens, man.
But he can't be too low. He got to come in at 160 the day of the weigh-in, or maybe 58, so he can put on maybe 5 or 6 pounds, but no more than that.
Well, you don't want to be too low to take a shot from Triple G. There's a reason he's got a 90% knockout rate.
Yeah, exactly. But we don't want to see him too heavy either, because I say you put on too much weight overnight. Some of these fighters put on 10, 12, 13, 15 pounds overnight. And that's going to affect them in the ring. I've always said it's like putting a knapsack on your back when you're training all these weeks, 2 or 3 months for a fight, and then all of a sudden you put a knapsack on your back, 15 pounds overnight.
Well, that's why all the boxing commissioners just agreed that they're not going to allow anything over 10%.
That's it.
They also just agreed, by the way, I don't know if you saw this, that BoxRec is now the official record keeper for on the internet for all boxing commissions, which I think is pretty awesome.
It's good. And also good for the fans to watch the BoxRec, to look at the BoxRec and keep up with the fighters' records. And also you can see there the judges and referees.
Exactly.
If you want to see how many fights a judge or referee has worked, it's always good to stay on if you're a real fight fan. And one of the things I want to talk about as well is I want to try to do something in Nevada with the judges and referees coming in for seminars. We try to create something where we can have things going and keep them all in good shape, because I think that that referees working more hand in hand with each other, more seminars, more training, I think it'd be a good thing. I think that boxing is definitely on the rise, and I think that we are going to see good things to come in the very near future.
I couldn't agree more. It's excellent. It's excellent sport. Excellent time to be talking about it, and I'm happy to be back in the studio, man.
Okay, guys, I want to say thank you again, and we'll talk to you next week. God bless. Keep your guards up at all times. I'm fair, but I'm firm. Touch them up.